Hello, thank you for watching. I'm Jannarone, editor-in-chief of IPO Edge, here with our friend Noah Glass, founder and CEO of OLO, a company we've covered extensively the last couple of years. We did an interview with him remotely last year, but we are here in person in Orlando, Florida at ICR 2023. Noah, thanks for joining us.
John, thank you so much for having me.
So let's go back to the very beginning, if we can, quickly. Noah founded this company in 2005, so he's got quite a history. Just tell us a bit about the evolution. What did you start out as, and what have things progressed towards over the last 17 years?
I think this is a poetic moment in time to be asking this question, because yesterday was the 16-year anniversary of the launch of the iPhone, and the OLO has been around for now over 17 and a half years. So we started pre-iPhone, and we started really as a point solution, and it was around text message ordering for consumers to order from restaurants and get their food faster and skip the line. That's how the company began. And really, since that time, launching at the end of 2005, we've been, I'd say, collaborating and co-creating with our restaurant customers. And what has come out of that is now a comprehensive and robust suite of solutions that really help restaurant brands do it all when it comes to digital and digital transformation. So it's digital ordering, it is delivery, it is channel management solutions, it's guest engagement solutions, and then also now payment solutions with the launch of our payment platform, OLO Pay, just last year.
All right, great. So what you're saying then, Noah, is that you've got customers who are doing a mix of those things. Some of them may be doing delivery only, but I guess the hope is that they would use you for as much as possible, right?
That's right. We have in total now 12 product modules, and last year we reported on average a typical restaurant platform is using 2.7 modules. So inherent in those numbers is a huge opportunity for us to do more in this mission critical status for our restaurant customers and really do all of it, add more value, drive more revenue at the same time.
Great. So now we're all familiar with the third-party delivery platforms, Uber Eats and so on. Are those your partners, or how would you characterize your relationship with those guys?
Yeah, so I'd say those consumer-facing marketplaces are partners of ours. They're very important players in the ecosystem. It's about generating additional demand for the restaurants, incremental to what they're getting through their direct ordering channels. It's the direct ordering channels where the restaurant brand has its own app, its own website, and is letting the consumer order directly from the brand. That's what OLO is powered. And then we're syndicating that menu content and price list content out to those third-party marketplaces. And that's what I mean by channel management. Enabling every different channel to come through one pipe enables us to control things and simplify operations for the restaurant operators.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, just now in the virtual green room here, we were talking about my experience at a couple of restaurants down in Palm Beach, where I live. I love these restaurants, but my friends and I have noticed in a couple instances when they opened up, the interface on my iPhone is a little bit awkward to get comfortable with. What would you say about that? Is there a little bit of a learning curve there for the diners, or what's going on? Because I got to say that, a lot of people are just used to having someone come up to speak to them.
Yeah, I think that's always going to be an important part of the restaurant experience. And by no means does OLO believe that every restaurant should do away with that human experience and move everything over to a QR code self-ordering kind of experience. We have learned a lot as a company over the years in terms of user experience design. I would guess, John, that you were not at an OLO customer restaurant when you had this bad experience as a result of that. But really, our UX team and our consumer insights team is really working to understand what is a comfortable design. Because there are cases where a guest wants to order themselves, not wait to be noticed by a server, be noticed by a bartender and place an order. They want to be able to do it on their own. I think that COVID was an interesting moment in time when a lot of guests became familiar with the idea of the QR code when it became embedded in kind of their routine of scanning the QR code to pull up a menu. What is evolved from that is the ability to go further and not just view a menu, but actually place an order, actually pay. And in some cases, the more hospitable offering from the restaurant is letting a guest who wants to order in that way, order in that way. But we believe in service model choice. The restaurant should really let the guests choose their own adventure, however they want to interface with the restaurant.
Makes sense. Now let's stick on that point for a minute with payments. I mean, if you go way back, I'm going to date myself. I remember when you had the carbon paper and you have to sign it, or you do cash, get cash, get wait for change. I think we all like quick payments. Tell us about how you're able to offer that. So if I go to one of your restaurant partners, is it quicker to pay if they're part of the OLO ecosystem?
Yeah, so this is the big driver from the consumer side and the guest side around our OLO Pay offer. The idea is about how do you enable the guest to keep a card on file so that they don't have to re-enter their credit card each time. We've gone even further with our borderless offering, which we launched in the very beginning of the third quarter. And that's around enabling the guest might have to log in the traditional way and remember a password. They're just in that account. The card is on file. Favorite orders are on file. We're just removing the friction from the experience so they can pay the way they want to. They can pay faster. And of course, there's another benefit, not on the guest side, but on the brand side, which is that when the guest is in that logged in state, now that transaction is not an anonymous transaction anymore. It's been de-anonymized. It's tied back to that guest account. The brand knows more about that guest. And the brand can then better serve that guest and personalize their experience.
Well, I was just getting, that's a good segue, Noah, because I wanted to ask you, I am, again, personal experience. There's some restaurants, they know me. I go out to eat enough, they'll know, what I want, but is there a way for that to be digitized where I can be treated like a regular, even if the person's never seen me?
You're singing from our hymnal, John. That is our mission statement is to help restaurants make every guest feel like a regular. And really, that's what we need, using the data that our platform will collect about the guest, using the data that we have about other guests to enable the brand to better serve that individual. So, I was telling you a little story in the green room that my grandmother years ago bought my wife and me a subscription to the New Yorker. We still get it every week. And there was a really great cartoon in the New Yorker this week that was a waiter going over to a table, a man and woman, and pointing to the menu and saying, guests who like this, and guests who buy this item also buy this item.
Yeah.
And it's a joke, it's a cartoon in the New Yorker, but that is the spirit behind what we call sort of strong recommendations. It's recommendations, not that the restaurant's making broadly, not based on what is, short shelf life and they need to move, but really based on what you've ordered in the past, what maybe you haven't tried, but that other guests like you have tried and liked, and therefore it's a very high probability that you would like. It's something that Netflix has been doing for years. It's called collaborative filtering in the technology world. But it's a new concept for restaurants, really helping a server in the moment or a platform that is serving you in the moment make a recommendation tailored for you.
That's great. Well, really cool stuff. All right. I want to talk numbers if we can for a minute. So I actually wrote an analysis piece about OLO about 6 months ago. At the time, it's been a tough market for virtually everyone. Tech companies, being hit pretty hard now. You stepped in along with some directors, bought back stock. Some of those directors include Danny Meyer, very famous restaurateur. You shortly thereafter announced a buyback. Tell us a little bit more about that. You got a strong balance sheet, so you're in a position to do this, right?
Yeah, so we ended Q3 with a balance sheet of around 460 million or thereabouts, cash and cash equivalents. And we've always run the business in a fiscally conservative way, and we've always been good capital allocators. I think that's something that we have to be proud of. We do have the flexibility to do things like stock buybacks when we think the stock is trading at an attractive price. And so we authorized $100 million stock buyback, something that we announced in between Q2 and Q3 earnings. But it's something that we're very proud to do and something that we think is a great opportunity for all of our shareholders, given where the stock is trading.
All right, great. Well, we're almost out of time here, Noah, but tell me, well, actually, no, I wanted to ask you one more thing. You were on the board of directors at Portillo's. Tell us a little bit about the work you do with them. That's an interesting business. I believe they're actually here in Orlando at this conference. We're going to see them later on today. They're doing a lot of innovative stuff, very, very high-tech drive-throughs and so on. Tell us about the work you do just to make it tangible so our viewers can understand the kind of stuff you do with a client.
Yeah, it's amazing. When I first learned about Portillo's, I was just blown away by the amount of volume that they do out of a standard box. They have large stores, they have large restaurants, they have large kitchens, they have a lot of capacity. But they were already doing a huge business through the drive-through, a huge business in takeout, a huge business in dining. And so the question was, is there another vector of growth in digital? Can you do things like digital order ahead, pick up at restaurant, pick up at curbside, pick up in the drive-through, delivery? And I think years later, the answer is absolutely yes. It's grown to be a large part of their business. They had the capacity to go and serve more guests. And some guests are in a need state where they want to have ordered ahead and get that drive-through in a second lane, pick up that order and not be gated by the other cars in front of them in the line. Some guests are in a need state where they need the food to be delivered. And so being able to be this conduit between Portillo's and all of the restaurants and the marketplaces, and also their own delivery fleets, so they can deliver to the guests locally, and the guest doesn't even have to go to the restaurant, has been a big unlock for the brand as well. And certainly during COVID, it was a lifeline for Portillo's and so many other restaurant brands to be digitally enabled and be prepared for anything the world threw at them. That was a pretty big curveball.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you have the last word here, Noah. Tell me one thing that you're most excited about this new year or a couple weeks into 2023. What are you most excited about?
I'm most excited about the thing that I'm always most excited about at the ICR conference at the beginning of every new year, which is that, we're still so early in the digital transformation for this massive $1 trillion restaurant industry. And it's such an honor to work in the space that we do with now 84,000 restaurants on one side of our two-side network, 85 million restaurant guests on the other side, and order through OLO every year, and 300 integrated technology partners who are integrated into our tech platform. On behalf of the industry, our customers, our prospects, believe that we're going to be the platform through which the industry makes this big digital transformation. And there's so much further to go. So I'm incredibly grateful for where we are as we enter this year. I'm also incredibly unsatisfied. There's so much further to go, and that's the thing that drives us every day.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Noah Glass, founder and CEO of OLO. Thanks for joining us, Noah. Always good to see you.
Thanks, John.